Rather than lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. Now, today, definitely, we need a pen. According to The Athletic, Stan Kroenke is investing in Arsenal, but all that money is going to be repaid back by the club. It is a loan. It is not the kind of mod of Roman Abramovich, a very crazy, deluded owner who loves the club so much and is pumping money into the club without asking for it back. Stan Kroenke says, I want my money back. We're going to be diving into that because they've written a very, very extensive article. I've looked at it, but also I will show you quite a few excerpts of what we are talking about. The Ghana blog, I've really actually covered this story in detail for The Athletic. So what we are talking about here, we're talking about Arsenal's 200 million to the Kroenkes, and that debt and that loan is actually still rising. It is rising and rising and rising. But the point here that I'm really scared of is how are we going to pay this money back, and also, could it be detrimental? Could it put Arsenal in a precarious situation? We're gonna be diving into all that. So tell me, guys, are you disappointed that Stan Kroenke is not just giving us money? Is not trying to revive all the money? Is not trying to revive the club out of passion? He's actually telling us, I'm giving you money, you spend it, but I want my money back. What do you think about the Kroenkes? Do you think they betrayed us, or do you think it is okay for the owners to give us a loan as long as we can pay it back on favorable terms and conditions? Hit the like button for me. Let's get this video to 800 likes. Subscribe to the channel. We are going to take this one very slow in order for us to understand it. And I think actually this loan might not be that good, but might not be that bad as well. So let's dive in. Into some of the excerpts that I've looked at from the Ghana blog and The Athletic. This is what they've said. Arsenal's latest financial results showed that the club have a 201.5 million pound debt to parent company Cossy UK. The interest rate on these loans remains private, although the Athletic has been told that the terms are very, very favorable to the club. So that is part one of the conversation. Now the second part is the loan is repayable on 2 years notice, but as yet no such notice has been received by the club. Arsenal's summer spending this year is likely to incur more debt. Should KSE ever call that money in, it would leave Arsenal in a precarious financial position. Like I said, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Let's dive into this one. Now, there are a couple of ways an owner or your owner can fund you as a club. We've seen it with Roman Abramovich. He can come in and then pump money in, aimlessly. But that was before the FFP days. That was before the financial restrictions in Europe and also around football became a little bit strong, tighter, and very, very vigilant. We've seen what happened with Barcelona. We've seen what is happening with a couple of clubs around Europe. So you need to be very, very cautious on how you spend money and the sources that you're getting your money in. What we understand at the moment is that according to the new rules, you will not be able to spend more money than you make. So literally, a club cannot make 100 million and then spend 200 million. You cannot do that. Back in the day when the likes of Roman Abramovich came into the Premier League, they were splashing money like crazy. They were buying each and every player for Chelsea like crazy. But now the financial books must be able to reflect what you're spending. If you're spending 100 million, you must be able to make more than 100 million. And actually the new rules that are being set out will ask a club to spend only 70% of what they earn. So you will not be able to spend more than 70 million if you're if you've only made 100 million. So at the moment, Arsenal have been spending money like crazy, and just like Barcelona, everyone has been asking themselves, how do they do that? How are they doing that? Now we have the answer. The Kroenkes are spending this money on us in terms of a loan, and that loan has already grown to 201.5 million pounds. Now, according to the Gunnar blog writing for The Athletic, they're saying this loan, this amount could actually rise, depending on how we spend this summer. Too bad, we've already spent a lot this summer. 115 million already spent this year, and more money is gonna be spent. But this is the beautiful thing about it. Arsenal is also working on a couple of outgoings, so if we get 100, probably 200 million spent, there is a small window where we can bring in some 50 or 70 million in terms of outgoings. And that is why Arsenal, as reported by Fabrizio Romano, we want to sell our players. We want a couple of outgoings to happen this summer, but it is not going to be luxury. It is not a luxury just like Arsenal used to do it. Letting the likes of Lacazette go for free, letting the likes of Ozil go for free. That is what has put us in a very difficult position, paying off players' contracts as we terminate them, and it's really not been that great. In terms of balancing incomings and outgoings, Arsenal have done the worst piece of business for me in the last decade. Beautiful players running away on a free. How can Ramsey walk away on a free from Arsenal? Can you believe that? We should have sold him. We should have worked on his contract and decided either to sell him or to keep him. So let's dive into the loan now, right? So it is 201.5 million at the moment, which is rising. I think it will rise to around 300 million total. The money will be paid in 2 years' notice. So that means that we will start paying off that money after 2 years. Right, the moment KSE or the Kroenkes give us the notice that now we need our money back, that is when we will start to pay it. And also the terms and conditions, the interest rates at the moment are not yet known. But according to the Athletic, of course, we do not know whether the Athletic have accurate information, but it is not going to be detrimental. The rates are not going to be detrimental to the club. They are actually favorable. So the first thing is, does this loan affect Arsenal's rebuild negatively? I think it doesn't. It really doesn't affect our rebuild negatively, unless Arsenal unless we go into another bad situation like the pandemic. But now that fans are back in the stadiums, I think it really doesn't affect us negatively. You have 300 million in terms of loan, and we've done a massive job by bringing in quite a good number of players across 2 summers. So that means in the upcoming summers we can start paying off the loan little by little. Of course, I do not expect KSE to come in and ask for 100 million at once, or ask for 200 million at once. That could put us in a precarious situation. But I think if we can start off by paying 70 million probably per year, like that, I think it doesn't really put our rebuild in a bad situation. It doesn't. Because, look, next campaign, next summer, we might need 1 signing or 2. The next campaign, we might need none. I think we're going to do the Liverpool way. We're going to do it the Liverpool way. Bring in players, then freeze signings for some time, deal with the loan. After doing that, then you can start spending again as these players are developing. And that's why Mikel has been insistent and very, very consistent on signing young players that are actually going to develop across the next 3-4 years. Because, it just gives you time to repay the loan without asking for more money. So does it affect the rebuild negatively? Unless we get a pandemic where we will not be, having fans in the stadiums and football stops for a while, I think it doesn't really put us, it doesn't put our rebuild at risk. So, is Kroenke a bad owner? Then after this, I think, like I've said at the beginning of this video, you're no longer able to spend lousily. You're no longer able to spend money without tracking, and that's why the likes of Newcastle, if they're gonna spend money, they will not need to buy the name of the stadium. You need to vigorously, cleverly, smartly, wisely have to work your way around justifying what you're spending. It is no longer Kroenke has given us money, 200 million, and now we are buzzing. Yes, it can happen, but not in this day and age. So I think Kroenke here this doesn't make Kroenke a bad owner, because look, other owners could say, I cannot give you that amount of money. What if you do not pay back? But they've gone, we know you can pay. We know the club is self-sufficient. It can self-sustain itself. So we're gonna give you some money, but you will have to pay it back. I don't think it makes him the worst owner in the world, although he's never been one of my best, and he will never be one of my best unless otherwise. Because again, this money, it is not his money after all. We are gonna pay it back. So the key question here for me, lads, is how do Arsenal pay back this loan? That is the key question, right? And I wish to read a few financial blogs on how other clubs are handling their finances, how handling these loan deals and things like that. Because the problem at the end of the day is becoming Manchester United, becoming a historical club with a lot of money, with a lot of rich history, but then your finances are crippled by a loan, right? And that's what the Glazers have done. They've gone, we're gonna buy Manchester United on a loan deal, and each money they make will actually transfer it to our own accounts and then to the loan. That leaves Manchester United in a very bad situation. And look, they cannot fall off the cliff that far in that short period of time. Something seriously is going wrong. And of course, Arsenal, after Arsene Wenger left the club, it was always either going to be a rebuild or Arsenal sinking to the levels of Newcastle, Leeds United, and the rest. So how do we pay off the loan is really going to be very key. Are we going to be selling players yet again, just like we did with the Emirates Stadium? Because they told us we're selling our best players to pay off that Emirates Stadium project. Now the Emirates Stadium project is done. Are we going to go back to the same times of Arsenal have sold Fabio Vieira for 70 million as a bid to try to pay off the Stan Kroenkes? Now, I still remember 90 Min last summer writing an article claiming that Arsenal are trying to sign young players whose resale value is high, and also who are going to develop, add value, and probably could be sold in the future. So if that is what we're talking about, then the rebuild is in absolute jeopardy. But if it's not that, then I think we can solicit other ways of spending money. Of paying back the loan. Like I said, we can bring in, for example, this summer we can bring in all the players we want. Next summer we bring in one. The next summer we bring in no one, and then the next summer we bring in one again. Liverpool have done that, and to this day and age, to this time, when they're only bringing in 2 or 3 players. Remember, there was a time when Liverpool signed only one player. Remember, there was a time when Liverpool signed none. For example, last summer, if I'm right, City only signed Jack Grealish, didn't they? It was only Jack Grealish, right? Yes, this summer they brought in Erling Haaland at a bargain. They brought in Calvin Phillips, 45 million. They brought in who else have they brought in? They're working to sign Marco Cucurella, right? That is around, so, and then Julian Alvarez as well. So they're trying. That is around 60 million euros on Haaland. 40 million on Calvin Phillips. That's 100, and then it would cost them around 45 million euros on Marco Cucurella. That's 150 million euros spent. Think about it in this way: they have already sold Raheem Sterling, Alexander Zinchenko, and Gabriel Jesus. So literally, they're okay. They're fine. They're okay. They have not spent any money from their pockets. So I think Arsenal will also reach that level, but this is the price we have to put in. And finally, I think what this loan deal does, it saves us from the FFP rules in the future. Because right now, if anyone is going to be looking into Arsenal's spendings with a bad eye, they're gonna be, how are you doing that? They're gonna run. They're breaching the FFP rules. But if your owner is giving you 201 million a loan, and you're gonna pay that across a favorable period of time on favorable conditions, then FFP rules do not work on us. So it is not entirely bad. Probably not the best news that Arsenal fans wanted. I know many of you wanted the Roman Akandayevic Abramovich style of spending. Spend 100 million, my boys. I've given you that, and you'll never need to pay back. No, it is not like that. Arsenal are getting loans from Kroenke, and we will have to pay that money back.